We all want to enjoy life more, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter how much you're currently enjoying life. Most of us, if not all of us, we want to enjoy life a lot more than what we currently are. We want to be happier, we want to experience joy, and sometimes there's so much confusion in the world, so many different messages to do this and say this and look this way, that we don't even have the time to just stop and listen to what we even want so that we can actually experience the things that only joy can bring to us, and for us to actually enjoy life more based on the things that's actually congruent with us. And in this video, I want to share with you 9 things that will immediately, if you implement them, and they will make your life a lot more enjoyable. And here's the thing, if you are single, you definitely want to stick around to hear number 7. And if you're a parent, number 8 is an absolute must. Now, these are in no specific order, but the order that I'm sharing them in, 7 and 8, if you're single, and if you're a parent, like, you definitely want to stick around for those. Now, the first thing that I want to share is you want to stop spending money on things that are not in alignment with your values. So often people feel conflicted, they feel like an imposter, they feel a lot of regret because they're spending money on things that don't even align with what their value system is. And sometimes we spend money on things that are not in alignment with our value system just because we want to connect with other people who this might be their value, this might be something that they desire. But when you stop spending money on things that do not align with your value system, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. You're going to feel more at peace with yourself, and you're probably going to have a lot more money. Now, the second thing to stop doing is stop taking time for granted. I know I've been guilty for a long time for taking time for granted, and we hear, tomorrow is not promised. And most of us, if we're honest, we really don't believe that based on our actions. And when you stop taking time for granted, you feel good about the things that you're doing now because you're not thinking about later even being an option. And so you do it now because it might not be something that you can actually do later. And when you do things now, when you take massive and immediate action, it just causes you to feel good later about what you did, especially after it's done. And when you stop taking time for granted, you have more experiences. People are more, depending on you in a positive way, not in a negative way. And when you stop taking time for granted, you actually have more positive experiences overall just because you simply do more. And it's like the more you do and the more you have positive experiences, the more likely that your life is going to truly be fulfilled, because a lot of people are very unhappy. They feel stuck. They feel overwhelmed because they have so many incompletes in their lives. Whether it's, them wanting to write a book, 20 years ago, and they started on the first chapter, and they got another idea for another book, and they started on another chapter, or they've been tending to clean out that closet for the last 5 years, but they have all of these different incompletes in their lives. And the main reason why all of those different things are incomplete is because they actually think that they have the time to go back and do it later. But when you take the thought process and you really stop taking time for granted, you do things more immediate and you don't put it off. And when you don't put it off, you feel better about yourself overall. Now, the third thing that I'm going to share is a little bit controversial, and that is stop saving unnecessarily. And I know that might be a conflict you might feel, especially when it comes to me, because I'm somebody, I like to talk about wealth and building wealth and things like that. However, when you think about stop saving unnecessarily, meaning that a lot of times we save and save and save for the future that may never come. We save for things that might happen 20 years from now, or we save for things, to put us in a better position 10 years from now. And here's the thing, I am all about doing things now so that your future self will appreciate you for doing. However, there are certain things that we save unnecessarily for because the reality is we don't even want them. And they're not even going to serve us even when we save it. And so sometimes the thing that we also do is that we say that we're saving for our kids, or we say that we're saving for our family. And we don't focus and see that sometimes when we say that we're saving for our kids, or we say that we're saving for our family, we put pressure on them to perform in a way that we expect them to based on the investments that we're making on these things that we're sacrificing for. Because a lot of times, if we're honest, and I've been guilty of this too, we save and we do things from a conditional perspective. If they do this, then I'll do that. If I get to do this, then I'm going to feel this way. And then what happens is when those people, they don't meet our expectation and we feel disappointed, we secretly resent them. because of all of the things that we saved and all of the experiences that we kept from ourselves and all of the things that we could have done that we didn't do. And we think about like, man, I did all of this for you and this is how you repay me. And the reality is they never asked for it. And I just got done reading a book called Die with Zero. Very interesting concept, but it really gives you a different perspective on the importance of buying experiences now, not in the future. And how a lot of times when you think about helping somebody later on in the future, there's things that you could do right now that would actually help them more, even if you gave them less. And I don't want to go too deep into that, but it's a phenomenal perspective that a lot of people don't consider, because when I read the book, I had a lot of resistance and I didn't consider it either. But saving unnecessarily is something that I won't say a lot of people do, because a lot of people are in different financial situations and they don't have that as an option. However, even when you think about people that might not have a lot of financial means, but they're constantly saving in their 401k, and it's like they're 30 years old, but they're saving for something that they can't touch until they're 59 and a half or 60 or whatever the case may be. And there are certain things that person can do even with those funds where they can enjoy life more, enjoy life better, and even maximize their current experiences by way of using that money right now that's going to benefit them and their health a lot more now than if they just put it off to experience later on. Now, the fourth thing, stop working overtime. If you are somebody and you have a job, don't get me wrong, I know some people need the money, they have a family, they have different obligations. However, if you don't absolutely need the money, stop working overtime. Because when you think about later on in life and you accumulated all of the things you accumulated, and you think about all of the people that you wish you could have spent more time with it, but you didn't because of you working overtime, especially if you have children, those memories and those regrets are not worth any amount of money that you can get right now. Now, hear me out. I understand that certain people, they have obligations and they got to do what they got to do right now. I totally get that. However, if you're somebody where you just want more money for the sake of wanting more money, but you don't really even know what you're going to do with it when you get it, and you're just, taking overtime just to get and accumulate more money, I would question, if you really think about it, if you don't know what you're going to do with the money, think about what could you do with the time. If you did not work this overtime, what could you do with the time that could actually serve you more than the money does? And when you really think about that, there's somebody right now who desires more of your time. They desire more of your attention. And if you give that to them, that's going to be worth any amount of money that you can ever get by working overtime. Now, the fifth thing, stop compromising your health. There are so many people, and myself included, the younger you are, the more you feel like I'll get my health together later on, or the younger you are, the more like blinding to you in terms of why health is even important, because it's like you can eat anything you want to eat, don't drink water, stay up late as you want to, eat a whole bunch of sugar, and you don't really see any of the effects. But the effects are taking place behind the scenes, and they typically don't show up until years later when they're so far gone that people can't do anything about it. Or they're so far gone that what people can do to reverse it, they don't have the energy to do so. And so the more that you stop taking your health for granted and do something now, the more that you're going to enjoy life, the more you're going to feel fulfilled, the more you're going to like feel healthy, the more confidence you're going to have, the more that you're going to enjoy so many things that people your same age just don't have the ability to enjoy because of their health. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much free time you have. If you don't have your health, you can't enjoy either of those things to its fullest capacity. And so I strongly encourage you, if you have been somebody, stop taking your health for granted, because when you take your health for granted, it's essentially saying, I don't care about anybody's feelings that love me, and this is all about me, and I'm not going to consider them whatsoever, because anything that I do is all about me, and I don't care about them at all. Because one of the selfish things that we can do is to not even cause, but contribute to our deterioration when it comes to health. And then think about the people that are left picking up the pieces of the things that happened to us that were beyond or within our control, but we chose it anyway without even thinking about them. And so I encourage you and I challenge you to make sure that you stop. If this is you, stop taking your health for granted. Number 6, and I know this is one that's easier said than done, but it's stop worrying so much. I mean, you look at all of the things that happen in the news, you hear stuff on social media, you hear stuff that happens, across the street, in a neighborhood, next city over, like all of these different things happening, people getting killed and food, like all these different things happening. And so sometimes it causes us to put our worry in overdrive and then borrow worry in the future for things that haven't even happened yet. And again, I know it's easier said than done, but when you stop worrying about things, especially that you can't control, it's like those things no longer immerse your mind to focus on one specific thing that is out of your control. And I'm not saying that if you don't focus on them, that certain things won't happen. What I am saying is that if you stop focusing on things that you worry about, the likelihood of them happening will at least reduce itself. Because when people just continuously think about getting in a car accident, and maybe they've never gotten into a car accident the last 20 years, but if they just keep thinking about getting into a car accident, it's only a matter of time before they're going to experience a car accident. Because the thing that we put our mind on, even if we consciously try to think about something else, if we've given so much attention to it, our unconscious mind keeps it at the forefront of our unconscious mind, and we seek out that experience. Because it's like, from an unconscious perspective, if it wasn't important, why would we keep focusing on it? And so the more you focus on worrying about things you can't control, the more likely those things will happen. And here's reality. There are times where things can happen, not even in reality, but it happens in your mind. And you experience something in your mind that never happened in real life. And people do this all the time. If somebody in your family, they were supposed to call you at, 8 o'clock this morning, and you hadn't heard from them, and now it's 10 o'clock at night, and you're worried about this person, and you create all of these different things in your mind as to what happened, why they didn't call you back. You might be upset, angry, you might be fearful. But either way, it's something you created in your mind, because reality is you don't know. And it's like, until you confirm, then you're stuck with all of the things that you imagine. And those things that you imagine are probably way worse than reality. And so I'm just painting it as a picture to just prove a point that it's very important for us to stop worrying, especially about things that we can't control. Number 7, and this is for everybody, but this is specifically for my single people. Stop spending time with people out of obligation. There's people that they drain us dry, like we feel like negative around them, like we could be in a great mood, but we go around them and it's like our mood just shifts, like something has just been taken away from us, or we're bored, so we call somebody up and we're around this person knowing that the last 10 times that we were around this person, we said that was going to be the last time because we just didn't enjoy ourselves. And I even know people that have certain people saved in their phone up under restaurant names. It's like they only call this person when they want to go out to eat, but they don't want them for anything else. And it's like, even though they believe in their heart and in their mind that they're getting over on this person because anytime I want to eat, I can just call them. But think about time. Think about time. They're spending time with somebody that they really don't want to be around. They're spending time with somebody out of obligation. And it's like, you never, ever want to spend time with anybody out of obligation. If you're not spending time with people from an opportunity perspective, then that's probably not somebody you should spend time with. And if this is somebody who is a family member, maybe it's best for you to see and look at it from a different perspective of how could it be an opportunity, because you never want to spend time with people out of obligation because they feel it in a matter of time, you feel it, and it's like you end up resenting them time after time because you feel like you wasted something that you can't get back. And you're absolutely right. So the best thing you could do is set boundaries and stop spending time with people out of obligation. Number 8, and this is for my parents, and this is something that I had to learn and I had to implement myself, but it's very important for you to stop over supporting your children. If you have children, it's very important, number 1, for you to just evaluate yourself from a parent perspective to ensure that you're giving them what they need and not what you want them to have. Because sometimes we try to give kids what we want them to have because we didn't get it, and we don't realize that we needed it, they don't. And when we give them something that we needed but they don't, then we tend to over give and over support, and it's like we're not serving them. We're causing ourselves to feel better in a moment because we're giving them something that maybe our parents didn't give us, but we're not serving them. And when you over support your child, especially when they're younger, you're literally destroying their future later on. And you're literally destroying your relationship with them in the future later on. Because there's going to come a time where the things that you might give your kids now, it's not even appropriate for you to give them later, but they're still expecting you to give on some level that's equivalent to whatever age that they are later on. And either the means you might not have it, you might not feel like it, or you might recognize that this is not healthy for me to support them in this capacity. And what that does is it damages your relationship. And I will say this, there is a certain level of struggle that is critical for all of us to experience. Because whenever people struggle to a certain degree, it also reveals a certain strength. Because some people, when they struggle, they see for the first time how strong they are. They see for the first time what things that they can do. They see for the first time how creative they can become when somebody doesn't rescue them too quick. And just to be 100% honest, sometimes the best way to show your child love is to give them the ability to see their strength outside of your support by over supporting them and actually weakening them and not giving them a chance to see what's inside of them that they can depend on where they don't have to depend on you. And it's never from the perspective of replacing you, because no matter what, you can never be replaced. However, we're just sometimes just too quick to run to the aid, and we over support our children, and sometimes that can cause them to resent us because they see a weakness in them later on in life that was caused by your support. And even though you thought you were doing the right thing, you can actually hinder them, and then you can grow resentment towards them because of the sacrifice and the effort that you made to help them that they don't feel grateful for and appreciative for, and they're looking at it from a totally different perspective. Now, I know I said that we're going to be 9, but really there's 10 things, and I want to share the 10th thing with you as well. But for now, the 9th thing to stop doing is to stop pretending to be somebody that you're not. So often we unconsciously become somebody different when we're in different environments, or when we're around different people, or when we're in just different situations. And sometimes when we have different amounts of money, it's like sometimes we're just over the top happy, everything is going good, we got a lot of money, and then we get a little low, and we start acting a little bit different. And it's like we should never give money, people, or anybody or anything else that kind of power over us. And so one way to truly enjoy life more and to truly feel authentic and like honest with yourself and just happy about who you are is really to be consistent, and not try to act like, pretend to be somebody that you're not, whether it's, somebody you dating or for whatever reason. Because it's like when you feel like you need to pretend to be somebody that you're not, then that means whoever you're pretending for, there's an aspect of acceptance that they just don't have for the real you. And if they don't accept you for the real you, then they shouldn't get to participate and have the fortune to be around any of you, even if it's you partially being yourself. So I just strongly encourage you to 100% be authentic and never pretend to be somebody that you're not. Now, this last bonus that I want to put on here that I think is really, really critical, and this really sums up everything, and it's one of the biggest things that most people want to stop as quickly as they possibly can, and that's stop living with regret. There's so many people that live with regret, and one of the quickest ways to live without regret is to make sure that everything that you do right now is not something that you might regret later on. Now, I know there's some things that are just out of your control, but there are certain things that we do, and we 100% know, like right now, if I do this, I know I'm going to regret it later, but for right now, I'm going to do it anyway. And the best thing you could do is to avoid that and resist that temptation. And that temptation is in so many different areas of life. It could be something that you eat, a place that you go, somebody that you date, all kind of things. But you want to make sure that you stop living with regret by making choices right now that you're not going to regret later. And it's like when you do that, that's going to cause you to truly enjoy life on a level that maybe you've never even known was possible before. here's the thing. I want to encourage you to go through all of these different things and really implement this in your life, because even though certain things might seem like it's simple and it's basic, the most important thing is application. And it's like when you apply some of these basic things in your life, it's going to make transformational experiences that you're going to grow to love and want more to experience. And it's going to cause there to be phenomenal transformations, whether that's something that's incremental or something that's immediate. But either way, it's going to be something that's going to benefit you. Now, if you are new, I want to ask you to consider subscribing. And if you've been here before, thank you for watching again. And I want to ask you to comment below and let me know what was your biggest takeaway. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.